Here we've got a half a hog. We're going to cut it up. They want pork chops out of it. They want pulled pork roast. We're going to do some pork steaks, a little bit of everything on it. So we'll start by cutting the ham off and then go through it one at a time. So we'll get the ham cut first. This will be where the ham is cut off. We'll be cutting the hock off here in just a moment. So now we'll cut the ribs, which will be, when we cut the ribs, I do a 3 inches, essentially about 3 inches away from the backbone. And that'll give us, if you didn't want it sliced, or if you want boneless pork chops, you'd have baby backs in there. Otherwise, you have your regular slab of ribs on there. So they want the slab of ribs and pork chops. So we're going to cut our approximately 3 inches here. And it kind of comes to closer to the backbone as you get. You want your ribs. So we'll peel out the spare ribs. Really not that hard a deal. It's just getting under these ribs. And you don't want to get too, you want to leave a little meat on the ribs, but you want to have a lot of bacon too. So that's where you're going to get your bacon. There'll be a nice slab of ribs there. And we can make the St. Louis style ribs. There's a different thing here. The St. Louis style have this brisket taken off, and you get nothing but center cut ribs there. Now we'll take off the slab of bacon off of there, coming right up below the shoulder. Come across. Just about where you've been. Just follow it down those rib bones, and you've got it. I'll just move that a little bit out of the way. Now square up the bacon a little bit, and the rest that's not squared. Let's see, we gotta put our trim for sausage, put it in there, and then a little extra on this back side. There. So now you have a real nice looking bacon there, and another slab there. And that will be your bacon. We'll lay this all out when we get finished to give you an idea what it really looks like when it's finished. Get my salt. Get salt back. We got a blade bone there from the pork shoulder. Not much, but it's there. I'll take the neck bone off. Just get under the ribs and up around the shoulder. Stay close to the meat bone. And there's neck bones. If someone they make good sauerkraut potatoes, that kind of thing. So now the shoulder, you've got your blade bone here on your shoulder. This is where you're going to cut your pork steaks. And what you do, you cut right here on that shoulder, and there's a kind of a joint there, and that'll give you your pork roast. Really not much bone there, just a little one, round bone. Get right into that, right where the knuckle is, so that way you've got some nice pork steak. And I'll trim a little excess fat. And also on the pork steak, there's two different ways that I do it, and I'll show you here real quick. This excess off. Now on this, on a regular whole pork butt, that's what you get. And I will show you that I use the bone part for pulled pork. I use the other part for real nice pork steaks. That way you don't have a big slab on your plate. And then I'll show you how I cut that about half, you know, and then that'll leave you a nice roast on this side. So kind of go down the side of that bone and all the way through on the other side. There. And this would make a nice roast. You know, if it's too big, you can cut it in half, or you can take all the way back to here, which I think they're going to want a lot of sausage, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So right here's the knuckle, and we'll just go to there. And see, that gives you a nice, that's great for your pulled pork. And it's got that 7 bone in the center. Now this one is what I use on the pork steaks, and it turns out real good because I'm cutting them about, not quite an inch, because I like a thicker pork steaks, and they really turn out good that way. And if you'll notice, they'll be really nice serving size pork steaks for people, because most people don't eat a whole pork steak. I mean, unless it's a ½ inch or, you know, thinner, they don't get as much meat. But on these, they're a little bit thicker, 3/4 to an inch. Now, show you what I have here on the pork steaks. That turns out all the pork steaks. So now the shoulder, let's see, take this. That'll all go in this sausage. Now the shoulder, we can trim it off too. It's going to be real nice when you get it trimmed. Take the excess off the fat. The other portion that we haven't done, the two items we haven't done are the ham and the pork chops. And they're wanting pork chops, so we will do that first. Trim a little bit of the excess fat off. It's easier to trim it on the whole loin than it is one chop at a time. You still may have to do a little bit of it. I try to leave a little bit of pork fat on there because you can always take it off after you cook it. Because when you cook it, it keeps it more moist. And most people, you have to watch, they overcook it. And it starts to dry it out. About done here. Now you got a nice pork loin here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it in half. For people, I've done it all my life, so I know how. But if you cut it in half, you don't have half of it dangling off, and you could cut yourself. Because when you're trying to hold it up there, it slides and slips. Right here. Switch. There we go. These are about 3/4 there. Is that gonna be thick, too thick or?
I'd run it like that. They look good.
All right. And you see, we still leave a little bit of fat on there, and that way, like I say, it turns out real nice. And also, if you're going to bone it out, you would bone out the tenderloin would be on this side, the boneless pork chops are on the other side. You can either butterfly the boneless one or whatever, but and the tenderloin's on this side. There's a lot of ways you can cook it. This is the way they like to have it, so that's what we're going to do. Take that second last one, use it as my push plate. That way, the bone gets caught, your fingers are not in it. It's a safety thing. That's one thing that I push, and that's safety.
Let me clear this off.
Yeah, you can have those.
Okay.
We can lay those out here right quick too. Exactly what you've got. Loin chops. Loin chops. You got that scraper?
I do.
Loin chops. I'm going to let you scrape it. Rib chops. There we go. Now, we'll get a few more. One, hold it. And that's perfect. And that, I don't know how I did that, but it worked. Pork steaks there. Rib chops. Leg chops. Nice one on the chops. Pork steaks, the chops, neck bones. Here's the roast. Off of these two. Okay, there's 2 hocks there. This is your shoulder, which can be used in the roast, pulled pork, just like the other. And then the ham, take it. Same on this, we'll give you a couple more hocks that they can use. There we go. They want the ham that's going to be used in the ham steaks. So I'm going to cut part of the, you got the shank and you got the butt portion on the ham. I'm going to cut this off with butt portion. If they want to, they can do whatever they like on that. You can still roast it, or we can trim it out, make cutlets out of it, or something in that order also. And the steaks, I think we're going to do Brian.
Probably will have that. That's good. Have this one there.
All right. We'll put them on the grill too. This is the shank here, and that can be, if you took the others and boned it out and made cutlets out of it. Okay, this is really nothing. Now, I'm going to lay this out for to see. We'll have it all right back on the table. There is, it's considered half a hog. We've just pretty well finished. We'll do a little trimming on it, but that's about it. Make the sausage. Now, give you an idea of what we just finished. Okay, we have, now I laid the pork chops out a little different. You have the loin chops. Then we have the sirloin chops here. And here's a couple more loin chops go there. Then you have the rib chops and the blade chops, end chops there. And you have what we cut on the pork steaks, the small end on those. And this is just the neck bone here. This is your bone piece for pulled pork. The shoulder, you can bake it. You can use it for pulled pork. Ham steaks will be good on the grill. We have a little bit of the hocks here. They make good ham and beans, fresh ham and beans. There's a couple more roast, and like I say, we're not, if they want to bone them out and make sausage with them, we don't have a whole lot of sausage yet, so we'll be showing you that. And then here's the slab of bacon. I'll move it back over here. and the slab of ribs. And that is 1/2, essentially a 100-pound half a hog. Get it all on there, perfect.